One.
All right, welcome back, everybody, to Power Up with Pride 2023. We have a $10 donation from Demarine. Keep on fighting. Trans rights, Black Lives Matter. Fight on, fight on, fight on. We have a $20 donation from Natara. Lunar whale is the best whale, except for the previously referenced orcas, which are a close second. And we have a $25 donation from Trainer Anade. We can add a fight with father to fatherless percent. The sense of irony is too amazing to be ignored. Also, I need every pet we can get for that doggo. Thank you all so much for helping us raise money for a great cause. And a quick update before we launch into this next run. We are at $86 towards our $250 incentive to add father to fatherless percent. We are making some really, really big moves here. So we've got some time before we can get that in. So please, any and all donations you can help us. No amount is too small. Exclamation point donate in chat will take you right to the link you need to help us raise money for the Trevor Project. But while you do that, we have another run queued up for you ready to go. And I hope you are ready. And if you have not seen this game before, you are in for an absolute treat because we are getting ready to run Superliminal with Ozmourn. Ozmourn, take it away.
Thank you so much for that amazing introduction, Dr. Now. Hello, everybody. My name is Ozmourn. You might have remembered me from the Blanc run. I was one half of the runners of that run yesterday morning. But now I'm here with Superliminal. This is actually my main speed game, and we're going to be going into the 100% category of the main game, which is all collectibles. As you can see here, Superliminal is going to be a bit of a wonky game, and I'll get more into that when we get into the run. But first, what we're going to be doing is going to achievements, and then we're going to be resetting achievements and tracked items, so we can just collect all of them again once the run begins. So I'm going to go to select level here, and as you can see here, there's 9 levels total. This little gray bar at the bottom of each level preview is where you'll see collectibles collected at the very end. The collectibles that we're going to be getting are fire extinguishers, fire alarms, chess pieces, constellation rooms, and blueprints, and all of those things sound really weird out of context, but they'll make more sense when we get into the game. Timing does not begin when we enter the first level, but rather it begins when we walk through the first door here in Induction. And we are going to sign the terms of service for good luck. I don't know what they say, I've never read them, but you know, it can't be that bad. Who reads the terms and agreements anyway? Now, if everyone's ready, I will begin the countdown in 3, 2, 1, go. There is an IGT timer in the game, but just for the sake of, my own mental sanity, I'm not going to be turning it on until the end of the run. But in Superliminal, perception is reality. And what does that mean? Well, we can make objects as big or as small as we perceive them to be, which allows us to do wild glitches like so. What I just did was an out of bounds launch, and essentially, again, this game has a mechanic in which you can physically alter the size of objects just based on your perspective. And so that specific launch, I created a object that was so big that there was no space between me and the floor, and there was no space between the object and the floor, and there was no space between like the object and the ceiling, so that when I jumped up, essentially me and the object were sharing the same space. And the game does not like it when two objects share the same space. So it will get rid of either me or the object I'm sharing the space with, depending on whichever is smaller, or whatever is just the path of least resistance. And in that case, it was me. And so it launched me straight up into the air with a lot of velocity, allowing me to essentially just skip directly to where that first collectible was, the blue chess piece, or the blue pawn. And so that's pretty much the only glitch that we're going to be seeing for this first level. This first level doesn't really have a lot of collectibles in it, but it does give a wonderful introduction to the basic mechanics of this game. And sometimes the game lines stuff up perfectly for us because you can actually resize things against walls, and resizing that sign against the wall makes it just the right size to go across both of those buttons at the very end. And right over here, we're doing another fast strat in which we press this button, and as we press that button, this wall is scripted to fall down. And as it is moving, if we push it over, it'll topple until we don't have to actually solve any puzzle in order to get out of that room. So as long as any object is moving and in motion, you can use your physical character's body in order to push it around. And we're gonna jump across that gap. There was a little bit of a level geometry that was jutting out over there. on the side of the wall that we were able to use to get to the other side and collect the final blueprint. And so that's induction. That's the very first level. And there's only 4 collectibles in there, but we're actually going to ramp up a lot of the difficulty and a lot of the collectibles that we're going to be getting in this next area. This second level is called optical, and as the name implies, there's going to be lots of optical illusions. And the very first thing that you're going to notice a lot is we're going to be going actively out of our way to be collecting minor collectibles. The minor collectibles in this game are considered to be the fire extinguishers and the fire alarm, just because there's so many of them, and they're easily accessed. And so right here you can see part of the movement, or part of the difficulty with the movement in this game, is that you want to keep your momentum, you want to keep your momentum going, but at the same time you want to make sure your movement is tight and your movement is clean, so that you don't get slowed down by having to collect so many collectibles and going out of your way to do it. It's probably one of the more difficult things, and one of the things you're going to lose the most time on, especially as a beginner. We're going to be vaulting out of this area to collect that last blueprint. And that pretty much finishes up the first area of optical. But in this next room, we're going to be introduced to Dr. Glenn Pierce, who is on the radios that we pass by. But I have voices off just for the sake of concentration. But I highly recommend checking this game out for the small story that it has, as it is a very nice one. We looked at that painting at the wall at a very specific angle, and it turned into a real object, which is part of the optical illusions of this level. And after we go out of our way here to collect 2 more collectibles, we're going to be doing our first skip of the run, or the first glitchless skip, I should say, called box jumping. And this particular box jump, it's just a very simple mechanic in which you take an object and you jump underneath it and resize it as you're in midair. And right here, we're going to be doing another type of launch similar to what we saw at the beginning of the game, but it's going to be a bit different. We're going to be taking that object and putting it very close to ourselves and then turning it in to ourselves. If it's big enough, as we turn it into ourselves, you can see that for a moment you couldn't see the object at all. That essentially meant that we made the object so big that it was bigger than the level itself, and when we let go of it, it launches upwards. But the reason that launch is safe is because there is a plane underneath the level that immediately deletes anything as soon as it touches it. So it just launches up in the air, and then we can go on and collect the first constellation room. As you can see here, all you have to do is look at the constellation at the correct angle, and it'll turn into an object. And as soon as you see it turn completely solid, that's how you know you've collected it. This is a lot of information I'm throwing at you at once, but don't worry, we're going to elaborate more on it because we're going to see these collectibles more soon. As you can see here, we're doing more box jumping, and now we're going to be doing another launch up here in order to get up top of these vents and collect this chest piece over here. And one interesting thing about box jumping that I mentioned is that, or that I want to mention, is that it was originally meant to be a intended mechanic by the devs, but they declared it to be too complicated for a casual player to solve. So instead, we use it in the speedrun. So that's a wonderful little piece of trivia there in the development process of this game and its mechanics. But right here, we're going to be doing what any natural person would do, and we're going to grab the moon, and we're going to see that there is the exit to the level right there on the moon. And now we're going to turn the moon again, and we're going to grab a soda can off the moon. We need this soda can for a very specific purpose. But first, we're going to go out of our way here, bring the exit sign with us, and collect a few more collectibles, 3 to be exact. And now we're going to resize this soda, and we're going to be performing another launch similar to the one we did at the very beginning of the game, making the soda can so big, grabbing this exit, launching ourselves through the ceiling so that we can put the exit here and then collect this blueprint. Make it a little bit bigger just so we can properly fit through it. Oh wow, actually, I performed a specific glitch that I don't know if I can get myself out of without having to... Ooh, can I get myself out of this? I cannot. I have to reset checkpoint, unfortunately. But it's fine because I will say that has happened in practice, but that's never happened in a run. So you can probably say that that's never happened before. I think that counts. And so...
We'll count it.
We'll count it. That has never happened before, at least on the run. Yeah, we'll count it. Essentially, what I did was I put a portal into itself. It's a very specific glitch that happens under very specific circumstances. Essentially, you grab a portal as you're walking through it on the same frame, and that's essentially that's what happened there. It very rarely happens in runs. Most often happens in practice just because you're repeating the same areas over and over again. But right here, we're going to be going into another constellation room before we get into the real meat and bones of this next level called Cubism. And as we're collecting this constellation, if chat can guess what the constellation is, they will get 5 brownie points. But meanwhile, Dr. No, if you want to say anything, you can.
I do. We are making progress, so we still need some help to make these incentives happen for the Remorse run coming up a little bit later. We are $86 of the way to a $250 incentive to add the father fight to the fatherless percent run. And we are up to 3 pets. That's right, 3 whole pets for petting the dog at $60. I know we can do better. I know we can hit both of these incentives and really max out all of the content we can get to help us get more into the marathon. So please, if you are able, !donate. Any little bit to help us hit these incentives is going to go a long way, both to help making that Remorse the List run just extra special and also raising money for a fantastic cause.
Thank you, Dr. No. Now, right here, you're going to see me collect a collectible through this vent. For some reason, that vent doesn't really have any collision, and you can just grab an object through it. I don't really know why. But now we're going to get into the real meat of modes of cubism, which, as the name implies, involves a lot of cubes. However, we're going to be skipping the only normal cube in the run, which is the run at the very beginning. But right here, we're going to be doing a specific glitch known as vault clipping, in which you're going to be grabbing a piece of level geometry and essentially doing a ledge grab animation. And during a ledge grab animation, the game does not check for collision. So during the ledge grab animation, we were able to essentially just clip through the wall and make it to the other side and use the dice as a platform to get the final chess piece right there. In this room, we have sliding cubes, which we can see up here, and get a blueprint in the process. Every time you think the cubes are going to be normal, it's just more elaborate setups for various different types of cubes. For example, this one, in which we're going to balance this side of the cube in order to jump on it, use it as a small platform. And now we're going to be using an exploding cube and using the very corner of it just so we can get up here. And you think this cube is normal, but actually it's just one giant cube. We're going to be using this side of the cube in order to warp launch and just save a little bit of time getting onto that platform. And warp launching, the reason it's called warp launching is because we actually use it, we actually use that setup in order to perform warps in this game. However, this is, that is like the one thing that is banned in this particular category. That specific glitch is banned, warps as a whole. However, if you want to know what warps are, I highly recommend checking out the any percent run of this game. Archmage, the world record holder, does an amazing job. So now we're going to go straight into Blackout. But before we get into Blackout, once again, there is another constellation room. If you guys can get what this one is, you're going to get 20 brownie points. Dr. No, if you want to say some more stuff, you can.
Absolutely, and I want to take a quick second to remind everyone what it is we're raising money for. The Trevor Project. The Trevor Project is the leading national organization providing crisis intervention and suicide prevention services to lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, queer, and questioning youth. You can check them out at www.thetrevorproject.org to access their services, find out more about their impact, or to donate. And again, we are still trying to hit this $250 incentive to add the father fight to Remorse the List. We're making some moves, but we are not quite there yet. So any and all that you can do to help us hit those incentives. We are just under $170 away from making this fight happen. And just trust me, you are going to want to see this fight. ! Donate. It will take you right to where you need to go to help us hit that incentive and help us make the marathon that much better.
Thank you so much, Dr. No. Now that you saw me collect a bunch of fire extinguishers in that first hallway, I'm going to be performing a few glitches in quick succession right here. First and foremost, I'm going to be trying to push this object through this barrier right here. The game actually doesn't allow you to take objects through barriers such as these. But you can actually just push them with your body through the wall. That actually works with most walls, but we use it right here as part of this glitch. We just push this through. There we go. We're going to be pushing it once more, and we're actually taking this canister with us for a very specific reason, because we're going to be warp launching at the end of this segment. And as you can see there, There's not really much puzzle solving to be done in Blackout because, casually speaking, this is where the tone of the game shifts to what the player might think is a horror game. But it's really just as scary as one perceives it to be. It turns the whole perception is reality thing in a more metaphorical sense. Right here, as you can see, I performed another warp launch with the canister. But for some reason in Blackout, there's actually no ceilings, which means we can just warp launch pretty much as high as we want to. Usually, you wouldn't want a warp launch to bring you that high, the way that it did with mine. However, we aren't as fortunate today. We don't really know what causes it to be more of a consistent setup to control the height of the launch. But unfortunately, that's something to just have to deal with. And now we're going to be grabbing this sign, and we're going to be performing another warp launch right here. And I think this particular warp launch is the biggest example of how massive the object really gets. As I said, the object gets bigger than the level itself when you turn it into yourself. And then you let it go, and it immediately gets deleted by the deletion plane that is hidden underneath the level, in case anything goes out of bounds. However, for some reason, the volumetric lighting of any object that gets deleted does not disappear, which means that the rest of the level is going to be bathed in this large red light for the rest of the level that we're in here. For the rest of the time that we're in here. And that just goes to show how large the actual object gets when you perform a warp launch. We're going to be turning on the generator, and we're going to be taking this can of beans, and we're going to be launching with it, because what else would you do with a can of beans? And we're going to be grabbing one more collectible on the other side of this cafeteria. Launch upwards like that, and then grab this chess piece, sploop on. And then we're going to be collecting two more collectibles at the very end. A fire extinguisher and a fire alarm in this hallway. Most of the levels are going to end in this hallway sequence with an elevator. And that is the end of Blackout. As you can see there, the whole motif of Blackout, again, as I said, was supposed to shift your perception into thinking that it's going to turn into a horror game. But at the end of the level, it was revealed that all the blood on the floor was actually just red paint. And it is Sunday. There's a hidden menu. It's hidden somewhere in the level that says it serves murder for lunch every day except for Sunday, where it serves beans. But in this game, it is Sunday, and so there was just beans. There was no murder. And now we're going to be going to clone. And as the name implies, the level involves a lot of cloning objects. However, ironically, the first puzzle in this level doesn't actually involve cloning any objects. We're going to change the radio station right here. I think that's channel 7. And as you can see right here, now we can clone objects. And because of the cloning mechanic, anything that you can clone essentially has an infinite range to it. That includes fire extinguishers. Fire extinguishers you don't have to walk all the way up to in this particular level. You can just put your cursor over it, doesn't matter the distance, and clone the fire alarm, and it'll count as collected. Right here, we're going to be performing another type of launch known as a jump launch. That's actually probably the ideal jump launch that we wanted. Give us just enough height to go up there and collect that last collectible. And the reason that works is because for some reason clone is the only level in which the character can look straight down. Which if you look straight down, just let go of an object and immediately jump, you can be launched upwards like that. You might have noticed that the rules for cloning particular objects in this game actually are very inconsistent. In certain puzzles, you saw that I was able to pick up the object and then let it go, and only when I picked it up again did the object clone. But as you can see in this level, the moment that I touch an object, it immediately drops to the floor and clones itself, and I'm not able to pick it up. Casually speaking, this might be a little confusing just because you don't know what the rules are for each level until you get to them. But on the other hand, for speedrunners, it's not much of a problem because we know how each and every object that clones in this game work. Like so. And now we're going to be going across here, and we're almost at the very end of clone. But before we do that, we have another constellation room. If you can guess what this constellation is, I will give you 25 brownie points. And while we collect it, Dr. No, feel free to say some more things.
I have a $125 donation from Care Bear 21, donating in honor of my best friend's daughter. Lucy, we just wanted to tell you that you are loved. Also, you can call us anytime for Tears of the Kingdom advice, trans rights, and especially protect trans kids.
Thank you so
And
much
I
for that
want,
wonderful donation, Care Bear.
as such a huge. No,
Go ahead.
No, I just wanted to let everyone know that not only are we still working towards hitting those incentives for Remorse the List, we're also like low key, like $89 away from $6,000 raised for the Trevor Project. So we are very close to a nice big round number. If you like nice big round numbers like I like them, we are so close to hitting another milestone. Any and everything you can do to help us hit that and donate to those Remorse the List incentives is going to go a long way in helping make the lives of people so much better.
Thank you so much, Dr. No, and I hope that we can get 6,000 maybe at maybe by the end of this run. Who knows? If that happens, I will be absolutely amazed. But right here, we're going to be collecting another constellation. If you can guess what this one is, I will give you like 2 brownie points. It's actually a very easy guess. It's a chair. It's not too exciting of a level. You probably noticed at the very end of Clone, you might have seen me not collect a specific fire extinguisher. That's because at the end of that level, for some reason, there are 3 pairs of fire extinguishers in each level that in Clone that are linked to each other, meaning that if you pull one, the other one gets pulled as well. It's very convenient for us as speedrunners because that means we have less things to pull. But for some reason, that might be a little confusing from casual players. And so it's something that we bug reported. It hasn't really gotten addressed. Right here in Dollhouse, we are introduced to another mechanic, and that is recloning, and that is resizing the portals that you go through, and in effect, also resizing yourself. As you can see, this portal needs to be bigger. We don't want to make it too big because if we make it too big, that makes us too small and we move very slowly. But we also don't want to make it too small because if we're too big, then we're not going to have enough size in order to. We're not going to be small enough in order to get through the door at the other side of the room, which usually requires you to be smaller. Right here in this particular level, as we walk through this hallway with a TV that is on but for some reason not plugged in, we are actually going to be playing Jenga the completely intended way possible, by resizing this fan and purposefully knocking the Jenga tower down. Is this fan not big enough? Wow, okay. Huh. Come on. Please go towards me. Thank you. Wonderful. And now we're going to be resizing this window on these lamps. Perfect. And now we're going to be doing a strat that I actually found, in which you actually go through this portal and back out, resizing yourself back to size 1 and making every other object in this room smaller, which makes the travel distance between objects shorter. We're going to be grabbing this bouncy castle and using it as a platform up here to be collecting this blueprint. And now we're going to be using this bouncy castle again, lining up at a very specific angle so that we can just jump and then walk into it. And resizing the bouncy castle again. We're actually incredibly small right now, in order to put it on this plank and make it to the door on the top of this area. And now we're going to be going to another glitch found by our community member, Archmage, which is why it's called Arc Skip. And we're going to be taking this portal and we're going to be putting it out of bounds. In this game, if an object is small enough, you can often put it through. You can often put it through objects. I want to make sure that that is collected. There it is. Perfect. Since we put that object out of bounds, the area that we put it in is just above the final area, which we just came out of. We collected that final blueprint and then resized the final door in order to get into the second to last level, Labyrinth. So that was Dollhouse. Many will say that that is like the hardest and most difficult game in the one in the run. I would argue that for all collectibles that is less true, but for glitches it 100% is. And now we're going to go into Labyrinth, and right off the bat you're going to be seeing me do a trick, which might just look like meaningless parkour at first, but right now we're going to explain why we're doing this. Essentially what it is that there are 5 audio triggers in this level. There are 5 audio triggers in this hallway, and we have actually found a way to skip 3 of them, but only skipping 2 of them really saves any time. The reason that we can skip them because you can see that I'm physically jumping over the audio triggers so that we don't activate them. And we do that because we want to activate the very last audio trigger as soon as possible, because when that audio trigger ends, they're going to teleport us to the rest of the level and we can make progress. I'm going to go back there and collect one more fire extinguisher. Goodbye. And then boom. We can, oh, excuse me, thank you. We can continue with the rest of the level. Here you're going to be seeing me line myself up with very specific spots on the wall, so that as soon as the alarm clock starts, that's how you know you're going to be teleported back to this room. And if you line yourself up with a specific part of the wall, your horizontal positioning changes, but your vertical positioning doesn't. And so you can just immediately spam click and just hit the alarm clock as you see fit. We're going to be going down here and into this cafeteria. What are they eating? I do not know. I actually forgot, and I don't have time to check. And now we're going to be doing a frame perfect trick. Get it? Because I perfectly went through the frame. Hope you all like puns. Tough crowd tonight. Labyrinth, the rest of Labyrinth, as we recover from that horrendously awful punch. Shout out to Hippinator for making that one up. And we are going to be doing this trick, which I hope we get first try, because I'm actually very bad at the backup for it. We did. In which that door launched us upwards into this room. And the rest of Labyrinth is supposed to be all about subverting the player's expectations. As you can see, we're walking sideways through a hallway now. And you always think you know what's going to happen next, and then the game completely subverts your expectations for it. For example, there is a painting with a cube on the side of this wall, and the game expects you to like line yourself up for it and try to make it a solid object, but instead you fall down here. There are these stairs. You think you're going to go up with it, but nope, you're going to go through the floor. Because why would you use stairs to go up? Of course, you're supposed to use stairs to break through the floor and go down. And now, after this elevator ride, we're going to do what is pretty much the hardest puzzle in the game, mainly because there's not really a lot of a sense of a direction. And the solution to it is whichever way you look first, whichever hallway you look down first, that is going to have a stop, do not enter. It's going to have a dead end towards it. And the second way you look will always have a door, and you want the door to be facing where the arrow is pointing. And so in this room, the pool room, we're going to be doing two tricks. First of all, we're going to be doing a slide launch right there, and where we essentially just slide an object across a wall and then use it to launch ourselves upwards. I was trying to get a ledge grab, and unfortunately we didn't get it. Instead we had to use the cube as a platform up here. Gonna leave this guy on the paint on the wall right there. And oh, excuse me. We're gonna be using this knight in order to launch ourselves upwards, using another slide launch to grab. Excuse me. There we go, to grab this guy right here. Perfect. And the rest of the level, we're actually going to be traveling to a few different places in quick succession. Right here, we're going to be grabbing this blueprint and then grabbing a die in order to teleport to the next room. We're going to be grabbing one more constellation. If you can guess what this one is, you get 1,000,000 brownie points. Because if you haven't played this game, you won't guess what it is. Dr. No, if you want to get in some more words here, you can.
Absolutely. The next run up is Remorse the List, and we have two incentives that are still in the tracks for that run. Father Fight for the Fatherless % run, which I would like to remind everyone is a RNG driven monster who can take anywhere between 3 to 15 minutes to fight. We want to see that added to the run because it's really, really cool. We still need your help to help us hit that incentive. We also are petting the dog, $20 a pet, and we have 3 pets right now, but we can get more pets than 3. Any and all the help that you can do to help us hit both of those incentives. It is the next run on the marathon. So if you can help us do that, we would greatly appreciate it. The Trevor Project would greatly appreciate it. And we're getting close. So get those donations in. Make sure that you apply them to the incentives you want to help hit, whether that's petting the dog, adding the Father Fight in, or both.
Thank you, Dr. No. The elevator maze that you saw there, there was a specific pattern that I went in. It was back, right, back, left, right, left, right, left, back. A lot of people think that that maze is like RNG, but it's not. There is a set path that we take towards it. And this particular hallway, you think it's just a normal, or particular parking lot, you think it's a normal parking lot, but there's actually walls, and you do not have to be facing the walls in order to trigger them. But as soon as you activate them, a room will just appear, and we do it in that specific angle so that we can just jump on top of the chair and get on to the ceiling and get one last blueprint, finishing up this level. I will say, tech, if you have a layout that has a flashing lights warning, I would recommend putting it on right now. Because we're going to be doing a few glitches, but there's also just a lot of lights in this level. And so this is the final level. I made this building a bit too big. We're going to go through that again, try once more. And we're going to be doing Jungle's Bistro first. This is a little jazz club, a very tiny jazz club, but this jazz club, we're going to be going through here. Perfect. And then we're going to reset checkpoint. We're going to be resetting checkpoint a few times. And we're going to be using this clinic, and we're going to be putting it into different parts of the level. As we established in Dollhouse, we can actually put certain objects out of bounds if they're small enough through the ceiling. And we're going to be putting this object through out of bounds right here, like so. And this is the other side of the portal, and we walk through it. It leads us to this area, but you actually want to be very careful. Oh yeah, let's restart that. You do not want to activate that particular trigger, because there is a collectible in that room, and if you activate the trigger, it'll lead you to the next room. And so we're going to be pointing it in a different direction this time. Right here. Perfect. That should work. Perfect. That worked 1,000 times better this time. It leads us over here. And we're going to be collecting this blueprint. We're going to be bringing this guy with us. And the next trick that I'm about to do, at the very beginning of this level, casually speaking, there is a section known as Paradox, in which you put a portal into itself. In order for you to not be like soft lock in the game, the devs put in a failsafe that puts you back to size 1 whenever you put that portal into itself. But it did not check for any other portal in the game, so really you can actually put that through any portal and it will put you back to size 1, which is very helpful and allows us to move the clinic into other parts of the level without hitting soft lock. We're going to be collecting one last blueprint. In that previous room you saw me go through, that was the last fire extinguisher and the last fire alarm. We're going to be putting this guy right here, cutting this chess piece through that vending machine. We're going to be putting the clinic out of bounds again and bringing us towards this part of the level, which is actually the very end of the level. And we're going to be putting this clinic, making it very small. Coming over here, we're actually getting the last blueprint of the run, right there. Collecting the clinic again, and jumping up here and putting it through this portal, and becoming smaller correctly, and getting the last chess piece of the run. And we are going to go over and collect the last constellation of the run, which is the final section for Dr. No to get in a few words.
We have a $5 donation from Nil Sean. I've been an avid viewer of speedrunning for years now, but as someone a part of the LGBTQ plus community, I am so happy to have found Power Up with Pride. It means so much to see what is being done here. Good luck to everyone on their runs. Nil Sean, thank you so much for that $5 donation. And just another quick update. We are $160 away from adding the father fight to Remorse the List fatherless %. So we're making moves, we're going in the right direction, but we still need help to get all the way through. And just as another quick reminder, we are now $84 away from $6,000 raised for the Trevor Project. How long is it going to take us to get there? It's really it's up to you.
All right. And we're going to be doing the same glitch that we said earlier and going to the very last level here. And we're going to be launching ourselves. We're going to be ending the run with the same launch that we started the run with. But this time we're going to be going out of bounds through the ceiling and just holding forward. And at the very end of this fall, we should fall through a loading zone that'll lead us to the end of the run. You're going to see the screen fade to black. And after it fades to black, the loading trigger will hit. And at the other side of the loading screen, that will be time. But hopefully we collected all of the collectibles. I will be a little embarrassed if we didn't. But I don't think I missed anything, but we'll just have to find out. At the end of the loading screen, that is when time will be. So in 3, 2, 1, and time. Perfect. So that is Superliminal, all collectibles. The first thing I'm actually going to do is I'm going to turn on the IGT and 3041.1. That should be solid. That's a good run overall. And the next thing that I'm going to be doing is going to the main menu, and we're going to be collecting and verifying that we got all of the collectibles. Oh no, we missed one collectible in clone, and that was a fire extinguisher. If producer tech will allow me to like find it, I will. But like, if you also just want to cut me off because we're close on time, you can. I don't really mind. Aside from that, if I'm not getting any word, I'm just going to keep going. But we did miss one collectible here in this level, and it's specifically a fire extinguisher. So we'll just have to see where I missed it. It should take no more than like a minute or so. Because I think the people need a true, like a real all collectibles run, because this is the only collectible that I missed. It seems I have a kind of general idea of where it might be.
They sold you a fake collectible. We're sorry.
Yeah, no worries. You can just cut me off there. It's fine.
Oh, no, I'm just saying they sold you a fake one, so now you have to find the real one. Keep going.
Oh, sold me a fake. It sold me a fake collectible. Oh, I'm sorry, I misunderstood what you were saying. All right. So let's see here. Is it that one? Nope, it's not that one. That's unfortunate. Hello to the smiley face. I didn't mention the smiley face the first time, but our cursor turns into a smiley face here. Let's see here. This guy? Hit it? No, that wasn't it. Where did I miss it? This feels like a very weird spot to have missed things. Is it this one? Nope, not that one. It must have been very deep into the level. As you can see, there's a fire alarm there and a fire alarm over there, but those two are like linked up with other ones that we pulled, and so we don't have to pull them. Oh wait, is there one over here? No, it's not. Which one did I miss? It has to be this one, right? Nope, it's not that one. Perfect. Is it this guy? No. I thought there was one there. No. This one? It's this one. Let's go. We got all the collectibles.
Hey!
Go team!
I'm not upset at missing that one. That one's a common one to miss, I will say. But that was the only one that we missed. Perfect. Now it's a real all collectibles run. Technically overestimate, but regardless, that is everything. I would love to show off what all the collectibles unlock, but you're just going to figure that out for yourself and play the game, because we don't have time for that today. And so I'll just say thank you so much to Power with Pride for having me back again. I really enjoy running for y'all, and I'm super excited to see what the rest of this marathon has to offer. And aside from that, you can follow me on Twitch. There are a few new games coming out this year that I do intend to be speedrunning, so maybe you'll see me actually being a good streamer and creating content out of that. Aside from that, I will see y'all around. I'm sure I'll see many of you in other marathons in the speedrunning space at some point. But aside from that, that is all from me. You can also follow me on Twitter and all other platforms, Ozmourn and everything. But aside from that, thank you for Heart with Pride. Thank you to the Superliminal speedrunning community for creating such an amazing run, and for supporting me through all the runs that I do. And thank you to Dr. No for hosting. And thank you to all of you for watching. I hope you have a wonderful night and enjoy the rest of the marathon. Cheers.
Thank you so much, Ozmourn. We are going to take a quick step away, and we're going to get set up for our next run. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.